The Russia-Ukraine War, a new chapter. The war in Ukraine has been raging for almost 2 years, devastating the country and sending shockwaves throughout the world. What started as a regional conflict has morphed into a complex geopolitical crisis, drawing in global powers and raising fears of a wider war. Now, a new chapter unfolds with the entry of North Korean troops into the conflict, adding another layer of complexity and uncertainty to an already volatile situation. The conflict began in early 2022 when Russia launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Despite facing strong resistance from Ukrainian forces, Russia has managed to capture significant territory, although at a heavy cost. The war has resulted in tens of thousands of casualties on both sides, displaced millions of Ukrainians, and crippled the Ukrainian economy. In a move that has sent shockwaves through the international community, North Korea has deployed thousands of troops to aid Russia in its war against Ukraine. This unprecedented move marks the first time North Korea has sent combat troops to fight alongside Russian forces since the Korean War. The deployment, confirmed by U.S. intelligence officials, signals a deepening alliance between the two nations, both increasingly isolated on the world stage. According to U.S. intelligence estimates, the initial deployment consists of approximately 10,000 North Korean soldiers, primarily infantry and artillery units. These troops are being sent to bolster Russian forces in eastern Ukraine, where fighting has been particularly intense. The deployment of North Korean troops is seen as a desperate move by Russia, which has suffered heavy losses in Ukraine and is struggling to maintain its offensive. The deployment of North Korean troops to Ukraine has drawn sharp condemnation from the United States, its NATO allies, and other countries around the world. The move is seen as a dangerous escalation of the conflict and a threat to international peace and security. U.S. President Joe Biden denounced the deployment as reckless and irresponsible, warning that it would have serious consequences. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg echoed these concerns, calling the deployment a clear violation of international law and a destabilizing factor in the region. South Korea, which shares a border with North Korea, expressed grave concerns over the deployment and vowed to work with its allies to counter the threat. Section 4. Implications for global security. The deployment of North Korean troops to Ukraine has sent shockwaves through the international community, raising fears of a wider conflict and highlighting the growing threat posed by authoritarian regimes. The move has also raised concerns about the potential transfer of weapons and military technology between North Korea and Russia, both of which are under international sanctions. Experts warn that the deployment of North Korean troops could embolden other authoritarian regimes, such as China and Iran, to provide military support to Russia, further escalating the conflict and destabilizing the global order. The move has also raised concerns about the potential for miscalculation and unintended consequences, as the presence of North Korean troops on the battlefield increases the risk of a wider war. Section 5. The human cost of war. While the geopolitical implications of the war in Ukraine are significant, it is crucial to remember the human cost of this conflict. The war has already claimed the lives of tens of thousands of people, both combatants and civilians. Millions of Ukrainians have been displaced from their homes, seeking refuge in neighboring countries or within Ukraine itself. The war has had a devastating impact on the Ukrainian economy, with widespread destruction of infrastructure and disruption of essential services. The humanitarian crisis in Ukraine is dire, with millions of people in need of food, water, shelter, and medical care. Section 6. The uncertain road ahead. The deployment of North Korean troops to Ukraine marks a dangerous escalation of the conflict, adding another layer of complexity to an already volatile situation. The international community is grappling with how to respond to this latest development as fears of a wider war grow. The situation remains fluid, and the coming days and weeks will be critical in determining the trajectory of the conflict. One thing is certain, the war in Ukraine is far from over, and its consequences will continue to be felt for years to come. The world watches with bated breath, hoping for a swift and peaceful resolution to this devastating conflict.